All right, y'all. Welcome to the Lawrence From podcast, sponsored by Irv Lee Production. He makes me look great. And please, like always, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you can be notified of future content. Today, we are talking about intentional dating. This is going to be, interesting conversation, especially because what I've observed and noticed is that most people are not dating with intention. What I mean by that is I'm not saying you have to date to be married, though I do recommend that. It is my professional recommendation. I think marriage is a beautiful thing, and while everybody keep calling it a piece of paper, that is just not true. If you ain't got no assets, just say that. Just say that you're broke. The truth is marriage is about joining two lives for life. It creates a certain type of structure, but I'm jumping ahead, so let me back all the way up, right? Why are you dating in the first place? When we talk about dating with intentions, that is the question you're answering. You're answering the question to why. This is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. You're doing things that are outside of your intention, and that's what's making your dating life very, very complicated. Or I should say you're doing things that are not in alignment with your intention. You might think it's necessary. It's not. What do I mean? If you're dating just to have sexual experiences, then you don't have to really get to know the person for real. You don't have to meet their parents and their bestie and all the other things. You don't have to move in together. What are you doing? If you just want to have sex, don't include all that other stuff. It blurs the line. You're over here buying groceries, sharing groceries with each other, swapping cars. You're living a life that says you want to be closer to them and all you really want to do is have sex. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So let's take it from the top. Let's start first with getting to know someone. We talked about that, right? As you're getting to know someone, this is when you decide what your intentions will be with that person. Now, those intentions can change, clearly, right? As you get to know someone more and more, you might decide, hey, I might really want to be with this person, or you might decide, I really don't want to be with this person. Whatever the case is, based off of your intentions, it determines the type of behaviors that you should exemplify, right? The type of behavior, how you treat them is connected to your intention for them. So low-level commitment really means low energy. That's what it means. If you just want them around for a short period of time, then the energy should be low. Texting them once in a while, calling them whenever you're available, just nice and light, nothing too deep, right? Because that's not what you're looking for. And if the person asks, hey, how come you don't call or how come you don't do this? Guess what? You should be honest with them. And this is why. There are so many people that are fine with shallow relationships. There's a bunch of people who don't mind just kicking it, hanging out. We could even do something freaky once in a while. They don't mind it. They're not looking for anything deep. They're not looking for the promise of longevity or long-term commitment. They want to have a good time just like you want to have a good time. And so instead of leading people on, just be honest and say, hey, honestly, I find you attractive. I think you're like a vibe, but I'm not trying to take anything serious. I'm just, enjoying the moment. Now, they have the right to say that they don't want that and they want something more, and then y'all go your separate ways. That's a part of the dating experience. But when you start leading people on, when you start to act like you want something that they want, but you really don't want it, that's when your tires get slashed. Okay? That's when they start busting your windows, right? That's when they start hitting up your exes and saying you got herpes or something crazy. You're pulling the crazy out of people because you're lying to them. So if it's low level, keep it that. Now, let's say you are interested in a person, but you're not ready for marriage, let's just say, but you find a person interesting and you want to get to know them on a deeper level. Well, the first thing you should do is, hey, you guessed it, communicate that, right? What's up with all the subtle signals and stuff? Why don't you just tell the person, I'm really digging your vibe and I would like to get to know you better, kind of be a little more intentional, see if this could lead to a long-term relationship. Nothing wrong with saying that. Because if the other person's on board, guess what? They're going to get excited. And now this means we will apply what the ladies like to call more pressure, right? But I like to say more effort. Why are you applying more effort? Because there are certain things you'll never know about a person or a relationship outside of particular context. So now you're talking more frequently. Now you might be considering each other's schedule. You're not moving in yet. Okay, you're not proposing, you're not buying a ring, you're not going on vacation. Cause I know some of y'all like to get flown out. Let me tell you something. If you get flown out, you're getting your cheeks bust. If you are celibate, don't ask about no trips or nothing, okay? No, we're not going to Turks and Caicos and you talking about you celibate. It ain't going down like that. We go to Waffle House, Olive Garden, maybe some Ruth Chris if it's like a birthday or something. We still getting to know each other. And a lot of these women, and it is men too, but a lot of these women, they know they don't like you, but they want to get the most out of you. This is why, as a man, you have to be intentional. You can't get mad at her for getting all that she could get out of you if you was foolish enough to give it to her. Let me say this again, man. Yeah, she's beautiful, she's stacked, she's thick, she's all of that. If you choose to give up your resources for her, that is a choice that you made. You cannot get mad at her because you decided to give up your resources. What you can do is say, hey, all of these things that you want to do, I'm completely down for it if you're my girl. Right now, I'm still trying to get to know you. Practice some discipline, my G. Like, for real. And if you're trying to get to know her, take her out to spaces where you can actually have conversation, number one. Did we talk about this? I feel like this is a little deja vu, but I'm going to bring it up again. Take her to a place where you can have conversations. Stop going to the movies. That's dead. That's high school stuff. High school, you go to the movie because you don't know how to talk to a shorty. We are grown adults. Take her out to a restaurant where there's a level of privacy. Dim lights, and the person behind you shouldn't be so close that you could pull their hair, right? You got your own little section. That's why you pay as much as you pay, so that you can have some space between each other, right? You can take her to a concert. I think concerts are great dates because you get to see if they got some rhythm. Y'all get to see if y'all have the same type of music taste. There's intermissions where you can have conversation for real. Y'all can sing along. It's a whole vibe. I think that's really fire. I think activity dates are really dope too. Something like bowling, or Top Golf, axe throwing, whatever. Personally, I like bowling. I'm gonna tell you why I like activity dates as a whole. But bowling is one of my favorites. But activity dates are dope because there's a couple things you want to look out for. We're talking about intention now, right? You want to see if they could take a L. You want to see how they handle losses. You want to see how they handle victories. Are they going to rub it in your face and they're going to try to shame you, right? You want to see if they could just have fun when there's really nothing on the line. You kind of want to see that. So activity dates are awesome, right? But this is what you do when you're trying to get to know them beyond just having sex. If you just want to have sex with them, I am begging you, I am imploring you to stop putting more energy than the bare minimum. Because especially like when I talk to these ladies, though I tell these women, and I'm going to say it now in front of everybody, if the man didn't say he want to be with you, don't assume he wants to be with you. I don't care if he's buying you groceries. I don't care if he's checking on your kids. I don't care what he's doing. Because men will do some crazy things thinking they have to do it just to get the cheeks from you. But if you assume he wants to be with you because he's buying you flowers every Tuesday and whatever, but he never said he wanted to be with you, shorty, you're playing yourself. You're creating a fantasy that doesn't exist. This is why we're talking about intentional dating. Now, if you are confused, you can ask him. You can say, and for the ladies, because y'all want to be equal, this is a part of equal. This is a part of equality. Now you can ask some questions about intentions. That's part of the equality. See, back in the day when it was patriarchy, the man led the relationship. But y'all want equality. So that means you got to put in more effort in the relationship, okay? You have to be just as intentional as the man now because you want it to be equal. Now, if you don't want to be equal, we can have a conversation about patriarchy. Put it in the comments. Y'all want to go back to patriarchy or y'all like being 50-50? Y'all let me know what y'all trying to do. That's a whole other conversation that I'm down to have. So ladies, if a guy is treating you a certain way, you like how he's treating you, but you don't know if he really wants to be with you, you can ask the question. You can say, hey, I love what's going on, and I'm not asking this question because I have any issues. I just need to know from my own heart. Is this something you want to do long term, or is this just who you are, just how you treat everybody? There's nothing wrong with asking that question. Now, here's the thing. You don't know if he's lying to you or not. You have no idea. You'll never know, but at least you asked and you gave him a chance to be honest with you. And what I'm saying is, brothers, if she's asking you that question and you don't want to be with her, please be honest with her. Because it doesn't mean that everything's going to stop, especially if you're treating her good. If that's just who you are and how you are, just say that, nah, this is just how I treat people. No, I'm a real generous person, whatever it is, but I'm not looking for anything serious. Say that. Or that's your chance, if you couldn't figure it out, that's your chance to be honest and say, honestly, I really am digging you. I didn't know how to tell you, but I really want to take this to the next level. And she may want that, she may not want that. You'll be surprised how many women who just want to have fun get scared when a man wants to be more serious. That's why these hoes, the women that you're just having sexual fun with, that's why you want to let them know that's all you want to do, because she might be down for that life. She's not, look, the 60s, 70s, 80s, where, virginity is a virtue and all that, these women, they're not living by those values anymore. And so some of these women will be honest and say, no, I just want to bust it open, but the way you're treating me, it makes me feel like you want more, and that's making me nervous. There is such a thing as treating a woman too good when all she wants to do is have fun. You have to be intentional, recognize that you just want to have fun with her. Now, once you decide to be exclusive with her, talking about intentional dating, once you decide to be exclusive with her, that means you have to cut off all your hoes. Listen to me. You cannot keep not one in the back pocket. All right? Because before you decide to be exclusive with her, you should have been evaluating if she's worth being exclusive for. All right? Don't once again sell her a false dream. Is there any guarantee that you're going to get married? No. But you will not fully know the context of what it could be. And let me tell you, if she finds out that you still got another shorty or a few shorties that you keeping on ice, it's going to influence the relationship in a negative way. She's not going to be down for that. And same thing for the ladies. I'm saying she, but same thing for the ladies. If you're going to be exclusive with a man, you have to cut off all your hoes. Yes. You got to cut off your best eater. Yes. You got to cut off the best trick, the one who just be buying you bags. You have to cut him off. Don't talk about being exclusive and keeping people on the side. That's not exclusive. If you're not ready for that, then don't go into that. And be honest with communication. So while you're being exclusive, now you're getting a feel for what it's like to be kind of like a full-time relationship. You're not engaged or nothing like that, so you're still not planning your future together. I still don't think you should move in together. I still think it's too soon. But now you're looking at what the relationship is like if you actually give it some real effort. Now you're giving it almost your all. And I say almost your all because, yes, you cut off all the side pieces, and now you are considering who they are. You're making slight adjustments to make the relationship work because you're exclusive. And if your goal is marriage, we're going to get there. But if your goal is just longevity, this right here is the sweet spot. This is where you make certain changes to see if it pleases you. Because here's the thing. Who we are is who we had to be in order to enjoy life at a certain level. But when you're getting into a relationship with someone intentionally, now you have to consider who you could be with this person and if that is somebody that you enjoy being. And so adjustments have to be made. Yeah, maybe you weren't really the phone person, but now you got to be the phone person to make the relationship work. If that's just really not you and that other person needs a phone person in order for them to be satisfied, guess what, guys? The relationship is over. Don't try to force it. Don't try to put a circle in a peg space. Don't try to put a circle in a square space. That's what we don't do pegging around here. Yo, y'all need to be watching Naked Conversations. If you're not, you completely missed that joke. But anyway, don't force it. I think for a lot of you, you get with someone based off who you think they could be. And that's not intentional dating. That's wishful dating. You can't force anybody to be anything, even if your version of them is a great version. Even if your version of them would be better for them than the version that they currently are. You cannot force anybody to be the version you want them to be. All you could do is accept them for who they are. And so as you're doing this exclusive things and you're now getting into the micro details, now we're looking at, do our goals actually align? Because here's the thing, before you get exclusive, there's a lot of conversation. And a lot of it is just that, just conversation. You just talking. To know if it's real, to know if what y'all were talking about was actually real and honest, that's what this exclusive stage is really about. Somebody says they want to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, my goal is to open up 50 car washes in the state of Georgia, whatever, right? I'm just making stuff up. Anyone can say that. But once you get into that exclusive space, now you're around them enough to see if they're actually putting in that work to fulfill that goal. Now you have the leverage, because of the nature of the relationship. Now you have the leverage to ask certain questions that lead to accountability. See, okay, I'm gonna put it this way. Let me back up. If we're just having sex, you can't ask me about where I've been. You can't ask me about who I'm talking to. You don't have the leverage. We don't have that type of relationship. And if you feel offended by that, guess what? There's a reason why we're just having sex and we're not exclusive. I never expected you to be the one to hold me accountable. I never expected you to be the one to level me up or to support me in that way. I'm expecting you to be available sexually. That's all I need from you. But now that we're exclusive, if we're exclusive, you have that leverage because what I do now actually affects you. What I do actually matters to you. I mean, outside of the whole, are you clean? When's the last time you got tested? You should ask those questions if you're having sex. Please, I can't stress this enough. Safe sex is celibacy. But if you're not going to be celibate, the next best thing is to get tested on a regular basis. That is the safest way to have sex. So please, all of this blind Russian roulette, we deading that. We are too grown and too old for that. If you're not being celibate, please get tested on a regular basis. All right, so now you're exclusive with this person. You realize they are who they say they are. Now in this exclusive space, you're meeting their cousins. You're meeting their best friends. And all of this is with the intention of deciding how far you want this relationship to go. Now, once again, if you're not looking for a monogamous marriage, this might be the rest of the relationship. And y'all stay here until one of you gets bored, until it's over, right? Because there's no moving forward if marriage is not your intention. But if marriage is your intention, now you're looking to see who or what family you're marrying yourself into. Because you might not notice, when you marry a person, you're also marrying their family. You have to deal with them. You got to deal with her favorite cousin. You got to deal with her auntie and them. You got to deal with her dad or her mom. You have to deal with her family or his family on the flip side. Look, okay, just to save time, I'm going to talk from a man's perspective. These things are interchangeable, all right? Because I'm not about to do this for the whole video, okay? Y'all know what I'm saying, right? So you want to know, who are your friends? She might have friends that you might see as problematic. Does that mean you break up with her? Not necessarily. You might need to have some conversation. But if these are friends that she's really road dog, she ain't letting them go, and you see them as problematic, the relationship has to end. See, when you're dating intentionally, we're not wasting a lot of time. We're going to have conversations. We're going to see if things work. But people are committed to what they're committed to. You don't want to coerce or force anybody to make a false commitment because they're not going to keep it. And then you're going to find yourself being hurt. And you're going to blame them when really it was you not willing to accept them for who they are. So ask those hard questions. Your bestie? Kind of sus. I don't know. But then give reasons as to why. Because if you're just uncomfortable, that might be an ego problem. What are the actual issues? Do you think she's a bad influence? Do you see another side of her when she's with her friends that you don't see when it's just you and her? Bring that up and say, hey, I noticed when your bestie's around, you get this attitude. I don't know, it's weird. You just switch up. Because guess what? She might not even know that. She might not even know that that's what's happening. Or you might see, a more timid side when her parents come around. You're wait, I'm used to you being strong and bold and, you speaking your mind. But when your parents come around, you shrink to a shell. What's that about? That doesn't mean it's a deal breaker. You have to have the conversation. And during this exclusive time and you're really getting to know them in their comfortable state, they're getting to know you in your comfortable state. They'll be asking you questions about you. Now's not the time to just be offended. If you're still getting offended by inquiries from somebody that you're exclusive to, I highly recommend life coaching or therapy. Because this is a person that cares about you. They're not asking these questions to hurt you. These are things that they see. And if you're intentional, you should expect them to be intentional. Now, depending on how old you are, I'll get to that in a little bit. I'll get because that's important. After you've been exclusive with them for a little bit, you have enough time to determine. I would say typically about 18 to 24 months, 18 to about 2 years. You have enough information to determine if you want to marry this person. If you're not proposing by then, either A, you don't want to be with them and you don't know how to admit that. B, you want to be with them, but they're really not good for you and you haven't accepted that. Or C, you're expecting to have everything together before you can get married. Dead that. Listen. I'm one of the worst advice, and I understand why they gave it to us, but one of the worst advice is you need to have all your stuff together before getting married. That is a lie. If you are committing yourself to the right person, you can help each other build for real. Now, if you're just lazy, then being married or not married ain't gonna help you. But if you're actually a person of ambition, being married can be one of the catalysts to help you reach your goals if you're marrying the right person. And don't sell somebody a dream that's not really you. Now, to be fair, it's up to them to determine if it's you or not. That is their job. But it's your job to really self-reflect throughout this process. Don't tell them that you're about something that you're not really about. But if you are really about it and you don't have it all together, don't use that as a reason to not get married. Because you're out here, I see people out here dating people for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years, talking about they want marriage one day. It don't make no sense. Now, typically when I see somebody, I'm going to give y'all some free game. This is free. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but this is free game. Typically, if it takes someone more than 2 years to propose, here's the fourth thing. They're probably not being faithful. And they're waiting to get that cheating spirit out of them. That's some free game for you. So if you notice you've been dating someone for 2 years and they haven't, and marriage has been a conversation, but they haven't proposed, you should ask them, hey, are you seeing other people? Are you having sex with other people? Are you dating other people? There's nothing wrong with asking them that question. Because why are you wasting people's time? 2 years, if you're intentional, 2 years is more than enough time to determine if you want to be with that person for the rest of your life. And if you don't know that, you probably still want to run the streets. And if that's the case, just say that. Don't be holding good people hostage. I know that game. Trust me, I talked to a bunch of, and look, you can't, I'm the one that got married at 21, so I ain't the one. Look, me and my queen started dating when I was 18. I proposed to her when I was 19. After 12 months, I knew she was the one. We went through several situations. I knew her people. She knew my people. I knew what I was getting myself into. She knew what she was getting herself into. I said, I could do this for life. And I married her at 21 years old. We were married at the time of this recording 18 years, 5 kids later, and it's been great. It's been great. I'm looking forward for the next 18. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I believe our marriage was so great was because I was intentional with the dating. Number one, I wasn't trying to get married that young. I thought I was too young for marriage. But when I saw the type of vibe that we had, the type of connection that we had, something in me said, you should investigate this further. And I believe that was the Spirit of God. I'm going to keep it honest with you. I'm so glad I listened to that voice and investigated it further because I found a gem young. And I said, I'm locking this down. And I hope she feels the same about me. Babe, you know I love you. So after 18 months to 2 years, you should be proposing. If you're not proposing, you really need to figure out why. Some of you have commitment issues and you don't even know it. You don't even realize that you're just scared of things going wrong without any real evidence that things would go wrong. And here's the truth. If you're already seeing evidence that it's not going to work, why are you still dating that person? What are you looking for? What are you hoping for? And maybe that's a question that we could do during coaching or if you get a therapist through therapy. But it doesn't make sense for you to waste your own time like that. If you see that this person wants to live this type of lifestyle and you want to live a different lifestyle, why are you still dating that person? You guys aren't compatible. It's not going to work. Watch my last video on compatibility. Then after you propose, I'm going to tell you this. The wedding is great. But the goal is the marriage, not the wedding. So a couple things. One, don't go broke over no wedding. Yeah, I know. I already lost like half the audience. If they made it this far, they left at this point, right? Don't go broke over no wedding. The amount of money you spend on a wedding does not determine the quality of a marriage. Just keeping it 100 with you. I'm not saying you got to go cheap, but don't go broke. Focus on the marriage because the strain and the stress of just the wedding alone could have you doubting some things you have no business doubting. So don't make it complicated. The wedding should be fun. It should be celebratory. You should have a good time. And if you got it, by all means. And if you need to get it, by all means. But focus on the marriage. Now that you are engaged, now you're having real life decisions. Now, if both of you have your own space, where are we going to live? Who's selling their house or who's canceling their lease or we're going to get married after the lease is done. Now you're having this, we're joining our families together. Now, I will say before you propose, there's nothing wrong with talking about credit because you need to know if a person's credit is bad or not. And there's nothing wrong with talking about a prenuptial agreement. Some of you should get a prenup. I think if you have your own assets, you have your own business, you have your own everything, and you're established on a certain level, I think you should get a prenup. And if your partner, if that offends your partner, then your partner probably doesn't have your best interest at heart. Because here's the thing, if y'all don't never get a divorce, they're going to live the best life with you. But if a prenup makes them feel like you don't trust them, then the reality is they could be naive. They could be very, very naive, and that's good to know. It's good to know if you're with a naive person, right? You want to know that they don't know how this world works. They could be naive, or they could be trying to play you. They see you as a mark. They realize you got all of these good assets. And yes, there are people who get married to well-off people just to take their stuff. Look, if you don't know that in 2026, I don't know where you've been. That's a real thing. So the conversation of a prenup, I think, is very much necessary. Now that you're about to propose, you should have that conversation before you propose, by the way. Like right when you're getting to the point of proposing, you should have the conversation of a prenup. The details of the prenup you can have after you propose. Because a proposal is not a marriage. And listen to me, don't feel bad if you have to cancel what they call it, end the proposal. I don't even know the terminology, right? But when a proposal is no guarantee for marriage. You can propose to somebody and realize this is about to be a disaster and say, you know what? This was great, but I don't think we need to move forward anymore. Thank you for your time. I wish you the best. Deuces. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you wasted their time. You didn't get the best. It doesn't mean any of that. It means you are dodging a bullet because you realize that this person is not going to be good. I know so many people where after they get proposed, they see a side of that person that they don't like, but they feel obligated to still marry them because they already sent out the invites and they already secured the venue. Listen to me. We're talking about your life, okay? You can say no at any moment. Don't go to that altar seeing this version of someone that you don't really feel, right? Then after that, after you get married, that's when you really give it your all. That's when all, like, passwords to the phone. First off, why y'all giving y'all girlfriends passwords to the phone? Like, what's up with that? Why is she that important to you? Like, no disrespect. I'm just curious. Like, that's your girl. That's not your fiance. That's not your wife. Why she need access to your phone? I don't understand that. Do you want problems? Like, make it make sense. Anyway, let's talk about ages because I think this is important. So remember how I said if you've been dating for 2 years, you should propose. If you're under the age of 25, that doesn't apply to you. If you're under the age of 25, date longer. I would recommend. Now, I didn't do it that way, obviously, but my marriage is great. So I'm not saying this is an absolute rule, but my guidance is to date longer because me and my queen, we were very, very self-aware and mature at a young age. And a lot of that is really trauma, to be honest with you. The way that we grew up, we had to grow up fast. So we were very, very mature at our age. But a lot of you at 18, 19, 20, y'all really not that mature. And so I don't want y'all locking in a relationship before you really get to know yourself and before you really figure out how this world works and what you really want, right? So if you've been dating, let's say you've been dating since high school, y'all got together your freshman year of high school. I would say there's nothing wrong with dating all the way through college because you would have met other people, you would have had other experiences. At least you would have had a better idea as to what this world has to offer. And if you make it through that, then by all means get married. So that's my exception to the rule. Like if you're under the age of 25, then dating for 5, 6 years actually makes sense. If you're over the age of 25, there's really no reason why you need to date beyond 2 years. And notice now, I said date beyond 2 years because my recommendation is that you be friends first. Remember that part. The friendship part is not a part of the dating. The friendship part is just getting to know them. Watch my video on that. You're getting to know them. So by the time we get to the dating part, you already have a general idea as to who they are. So y'all like to talk about this talking phase. So I'm dealing with the talking phase. The talking phase is not part of the friendship phase. The friendship phase is I'm getting to know you without any expectation of this being romantic. And after going through that process, which I discussed in that video, then I make a decision that I want to be romantic with you. Now we're in the talking phase. That's part of the dating phase. We're talking, getting a little vibe. The talking phase shouldn't be no longer than 6 months. Like, what are you talking about? Like that should be 6 months at max before you say, okay, I'm gonna lock this down. Or I'm not gonna lock this down. You're just gonna be a buddy. You know what I mean? You know the buddy I'm talking about. This is what we doing. By 6 months, you kind of already know. And ladies, let me tell you this, by 6 months, he already knows. So if he ain't lock it down in 6 months, he just wants you to be a buddy. But he don't know how to tell you that. He don't got enough game to let you know what? You're gonna have a lot of fun without this commitment. You about to have a lot of fun without this commitment, baby. We about to, woo! We about to travel the world and we single together, though. Oh man, yeah. If he don't lock it down in 6 months, he don't want you for real. But he might enjoy your company. He might enjoy the sex that you bring. You might have a great head game, but he doesn't want to wife you. Let me also add this before you brothers propose. Let's say you've been dating for 2 years. Another thing that you want to pay attention to, you got to ask yourself this question. It's a very important question. If I was to have kids with this woman, would I want my daughter to be like her? Listen, that's a sobering question because she could be beautiful and thick, but if you don't want your daughter acting like her, don't marry her. Did you hear what I just said? I don't care how well she treats you. I don't care all the benefits you get from her. If you don't want your daughter to, because she will mirror her. I'm telling you right now that she will. If you don't want your daughter to act like her, don't marry her. She is just a good time for you. You will get a divorce. You will, and not only that, you will talk about her mothering, and it's gonna be a disaster. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. So all the exceptions, you can come into the comments and make yourself known if it makes you feel validated and important. But yeah, no, if you don't, I know for me, who my queen is, I want my daughters to emulate almost everything about her. Some things my daughters better not, what I'm saying? But most things, I want them to emulate everything about it because I just love the type of woman that she's. I actually wish more women was like my wife. You kind of want to feel like that. You want to marry a woman where you could say, if my daughter is just like her, I will be satisfied. If you can't say that, you need to do a lot of reflecting, a lot of soul searching, and you might need to break up with that woman. She might not be good for you. What else? Last thing. Well, maybe last thing. Do not marry potential. When I talk about you're dating for 2 years, you're not looking for potential. You're looking for what's actual, what already manifests. Or at least the things that are on the works, like for real on the works. That's what you're committing to. You want to marry someone or you want to date someone, get to know them, but you want to date someone under the assumption that they may never change. Because the truth is they might not. And if they do change, the change isn't always good change. So you don't want to marry someone expecting the best out of them, what you think is the best out of them, because that may never materialize. And now you feel like you got duped when in reality, they never showed you that was them. Like you think you about to marry the most feminine of women and she's never been feminine? Like, what makes you think she's gonna? Well, you think marriage is gonna make her switch? No, it doesn't work like that. You think that you're with a go-getter, a hustler, and you've never seen this man hustle? What you think marriage is gonna make him switch? It doesn't work like that. And so you want to get with someone where everything you see, you want. Not, not what it could be, but what it is. And that requires you to be fully present. I'm not saying ignore the potential, but the potential is like icing on the cake. If the cake is dry, the icing's not going to help it taste better. It's still going to be dry cake at the end of the day. So you have to have real tangible evidence of who that person is and where that person is going. Let me say this, then I will wrap up because I've been talking for a long time. Get that fairy tale Disney romance marriage out of your head. It's dead, finito. Marriage is built on love, but love is not the only material for marriage. If you are dating to get married, you have to align in purpose, you have to align in finances, you have to align in leisure time. It's not just enough to say, I love you. Now, do you have to be completely identical? No, you don't have to be identical, but you have to be compatible. You have to align. I talked about that, but I can't stress that enough. That Disney stuff, we live happily ever after, get that out your head. Longevity requires effort, work, okay? There's gonna be days where you're not gonna like each other and you have to find a way to make it work. While there's gonna be days where you can't get enough of each other, you still have to find a way to make it work. If you guys are going in opposite directions, eventually the divorce is going to happen. So don't even get married. In marriage, there is no compromise. There are consensus. And what do I mean? If I want to live in Georgia and she wants to live in California, living in Arkansas is going to make both of us miserable. Somebody has to concede. We either going to live in Georgia or Cali. We got to pick one. One of us is going to be happy out this joint, right? You know what I mean? Because there is no compromise in that. If I want 5 kids and she wants 2 kids, having 3 kids is not going to satisfy anybody. There are certain decisions in life where there is no compromise. Some maybe, okay, we can't make it to Cancun, so we go to, I don't know, Colorado. I don't know. Look, there might be some compromises, but in most things in life, there are no compromises. There are concessions. I am conceding for your happiness. You are conceding for my happiness. We are working to fulfill each other while we're working to fulfill ourselves. Compromise is an illusion. We use that word compromise, but we're really not compromising. We are conceding. I will give this up for you. What will you give up for me? Those are the best long-lasting relationships, if it's necessary to give up something. I don't want y'all to assume that sometimes life is great and you guys are so compatible that you don't have to give up a thing, but there will be times where she's worth it, you just have to give up something. And if you're not willing to give it up, you're being immature. Because if she is going to be the best thing for you in the long term, and you say, oh, but I can't give up my style, or, oh, I can't. I mean, just the most, some of y'all hold on to things. It makes no sense. You are getting in your own way of your own happiness, and you're blaming the world. Give up that trauma. Give up that yelling, or give up that cussing, or give up that habit, right? If she's worth it, I know I have to give up all my hoes. I had hoes. I had to give them up. She was worth it. For all 5, I had a roster. I called them the starting 5. For those 5, I had to give them up for the one. She was worth the one. Does that make sense? There will be times where I have to make decisions that's not the best financially, but it's the best for our marriage. I will surrender. I will delay the financial gain for the benefit of the marriage. I have to give it up. There is no compromise. Once I spend the money here, I can't spend the money there. Once I spend the money here, I can't invest the money there. But it is worth it. And I love the fact that I can say she's worth the sacrifice. You need to ask yourself, can you say the same thing? And I promise you, just because she's beautiful or just because she's thick, that's not going to be enough for you to say she's worth the sacrifice. You might be on a roll to becoming a doctor, and you might have to put your education on pause so that she can thrive for a little bit. Is she worth that? Is she worth that? Because if she gets where she needs to go, then she can support you to where you need to go. Do you even believe she'll do that for you? That's why this is such an important decision, because who you marry truly does impact the rest of your life. You marry the wrong person, you will be miserable. But if you marry the right one, and you can only marry the right one with intention, you would find your life being blessed beyond measure. So stop wasting each other's time. Stop going to the movies as a date night. Start having real conversations. Get to know yourself first. Go through all the videos so I don't have to recap everything. But be intentional. When you find that person, don't allow your fear to prevent you from locking it down and being happy. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Leave your comments and questions in the comment section. Your presence matters, and as always, if nobody else tells you, I love you. Peace.